Welcome back to another video. Today we are in the Summer Cup Gray League, and let's try out a different team here. We are going to be looking at the Shadow Poliwrath paired with the Kingdra and the Charjabug in the back. Great lead here. We're going to get switched out into the Charjabug, or excuse me, we're going to switch out into the Charjabug. They have their Shadow Giraffe rig. They're going to throw a bunch of Psychic Things. One Psychic Thing does get shielded because they actually add up pretty quickly. We're going to be able to get to this X-Scissor here to threaten a shield. We do get the shield, and we do have the back-to-back. So now we force them to make a decision. Do they want to use the second shield or let this Giraffe rig go down? They decide to double shield. Okay, and now we have a shield advantage, but we have to deal with this Giraffe rig with some energy. We're going to go to our Kingdra here, as we are going to be able to tank one of the moves. This is most likely going to be the Psychic Fang. Okay, it goes through, and then we're going to be able to... Okay, they actually switch out of that situation, and they're going to end up with the Diggersby onto our Shadow Poliwrath. We are going to shield here just to maintain the health on this Poliwrath, because we're going to be able to get to this Scold here. This is a potential KO. Let's see if it ends up taking it out. It does take out the Diggersby. We don't allow them to get another Scorching Sand to go off. They still have the Giraffe rig. Let's see what they bring back in. They go and use the Swampert. Swampert here is going to be able to get to a move. Is this Hydro Cannon enough to take out our Poliwrath? Wow, yes it is. So nice play by my opponent there. Then our opponent here does switch out into their Giraffe rig. This Giraffe rig does end up having a move, ends up being the Psychic Fang. So we are already debuffed, but because we got the additional energy because they switched in, we already added Artazuka. Is this Artazuka enough? Yes, it is. GG's to our opponent, able to take out that Shadow Swampert at roughly 50% health. So that was a wild game with a bunch of interesting Pokemon on their side. We did manage to wiggle out of that situation, and luckily the Kingdra and the Poliwrath went to work. So here we have a terrible matchup. We're going to switch out into the Charjabug. This Toxapex here is pretty decent against our entire team. This Charjabug is going to be able to tank and move here. We do tank the Brine, and then they switch out into their Vigoroth. So you got the Toxapex and Vigoroth right now revealed. We're going to be able to get to another X-Scissor. This X-Scissor here will not KO, but it will get this low enough for a potential farm down, so they do invest a shield. And at this point, we decide to just shield this one up because we think we can get to another move here. Our opponent does end up having another Body Slam ready, and we're going to have to go down 2 shields just to use this energy efficiently. We're going to undercharge this because we want to potentially farm. Okay, we do get 2 Vol Switches. Okay, that's as good as it's going to get. And now we have to deal with this Ferrothorn. This Ferrothorn here is going to be pretty problematic. We switch out into the Poliwrath because this Poliwrath is going to struggle against that Toxapex. We use the Poliwrath kind of as a sack right there. They do go back into their Toxapex when we have the Kingdra ready. We're going to go for this Artazuka here. We need to get this shield or potential debuff. Okay, we do get the shield and we get the debuff, so that's the best of both worlds. They're going to have to go for a Sludge Wave here. This Sludge Wave, because this debuff doesn't quite KO, we're going to get to another Artazuka. This Artazuka is going to chip away at this Toxapex. Not quite the KO. We're trying to snipe the energy. Oh, unfortunately, they were at another move. They get to the move, take out our Charjabug, and now our Kingdra is quite low. But unfortunately, not enough health and not enough charge moves to take out that Ferrothorn. Definitely shouldn't have used all those shields with our Charjabug, but we definitely needed to save the shields for our backline. Here we have the Salazzle versus our Poliwrath right here. We are resisting their fast moves, but these Poison Fangs will be adding up. One Poison Fang goes through, it takes a good chunk of health away. We're going to have to try to get a shield advantage somehow, so we're going to go for this Icy Wind here. They do allow it to go through, and then our opponent here is going to be able to throw another Poison Fang. We're going to let this go. We chip away at this Salazzle, and now we can farm down with something. At least we won't have to take the full brunt of a full health Salazzle. We get energy advantage on the Charjabug. They revealed that they have the Vigoroth. Vigoroth here, even shields should be okay. We did have the Vol Switch advantage. Here we know that they are going to threaten a potential Rock Slide, so we're going to shield the first one. Ends up only being the Body Slam. So Nice play by them. We're going to go for another X-Scissor. This X-Scissor here does chunk away at the Vigoroth tail. We're going to switch out immediately, trying to see what they have in the bag. They end up having the Magnet Zone. Magnet Zone in the back here is going to be interesting. We are going to be able to resist all of their moves. So we're going to let the first one go through. Ends up being the Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot here doesn't do that much damage. And I think we avoided the debuff, so that's fantastic. Here, they're going to keep threatening a move here. We're going to allow this to go through because if they go for the Wild Charge, we can farm with our Charjabug, but they decide to go for the Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot here ends up being enough to take us out with the addition of the Volt Switches. Here, we're going to allow this move to go through. Ends up being the Mirror Shot again. We are avoiding the debuff, so that is fantastic for us. We're going to go for this Discharge to take it out immediately, and then we're going to have to decide if we want to shield this or not. We decide to shield this. Ends up being the Rock Slide, and look at that. We are able to win with just one more Volt Switch. So GG's to our opponent, able to win that game, basically saving that shield and pressuring our opponents to kind of use a bunch of energy inefficiently, and then at the end right there, able to just Volt Switch down. Here we got the Shadow Poliwrath versus this Charjabug. Not the best matchup here. We're going to switch out into our Kingdra. This Kingdra is going to be able to tank these moves much better. They decided to throw a move here to probably chip away at the Kingdra. Discharge goes through, nice neutral damage, and our opponent here is going to stay in for now. So we're going to threaten KO here, going for this Octazooka bait. Oh, no shield, and they are able to survive. This right here is going to be the X-Scissor to take out the Kingdra. So the only information we have right now is they didn't want to see that Kingdra. So what could they possibly have that they were not so fond of seeing the Kingdra? Maybe a Skeleturge? Okay, ends up being the Manting. Manting here is going to be able to win this matchup against the Poliwrath. So we're just going to throw an Icy Wind to chip away at it. Switch out into the Charjabug. And then we get met with the Trevenant. Trevenant here is going to be even shield, but we did have a little bit of an energy advantage. We basically have to invest both shields into this Charjabug regardless of the charge move, unfortunately. We're going to be threatening a bunch of these X-Scissors, so at least some good and neutral damage. You can see right there, doing roughly 40%. Here, we're going to have to end up shielding, and let's see if we're going to be able to get this last shield from our opponent. We are going to throw this X-Scissor right here. Let's see if we do get the second shield or not. They do invest the second shield, and we're very close to another move, but we're going to have to just sack this Poliwrath because the Poliwrath has no play against the Manting and the Trevenant. But you can see right here, they did have energy stored up, going for another Arrow Ace, and it does take out the Charjabug. So GG's to our opponent. Only way probably we could have potentially wiggled out of that situation was going for the Outrage with our Kingdra versus their Charjabug, so that they didn't get that additional X-Scissor off. So nice play by my opponent calling the bait. Here we're going to have the Poliwrath versus the Vigoroth. Great matchup for us here. Interesting that they're staying in. They are going to be throwing a Body Slam right here, so we're going to show this first one just to keep this Poliwrath healthy. They switch out into the Wish Cache, so they're kind of core broken with this Poliwrath. We're going to be able to get a huge Skull to go through. We know that they most likely only going to be able to throw these Mud Bombs. One Mud Bomb goes through, takes us into the red, but at least we are able to farm down. We still have an answer for that Vigoroth if they come back in with the Vigoroth, but we're going to threaten a shield here. We're going to go for this Icy Wind, and let's see if we get our opponent to use the shield. No shield, so our opponent does get it locked in, and then we're going to use our Charjabug for a little bit of energy advantage. We're going to threaten the Discharge right here. It does get a shield. They are running the Incinerate version, so they are able to just farm down. So nice play by my opponent. We're going to have to make a decision. Do we go in with the Kingdra right here, or do we go in with the Poliwrath? We're going to decide to go in with the Kingdra because these Dragon Breaths should apply a ton of pressure. We're going to let the first one go through. It ends up being the Thunder Punch. It's only neutral damage. They have a ton of energy, so we know that this is going to be another Thunder Punch. And now we're going to be able to potentially farm down. They are going to be just going for this Incinerate, so that is GG's right there. Check out this team if you haven't already. Let us know if you enjoyed the video.